Hey, have you ever noticed that certain daily activities have started to seem more tiring? Climbing stairs, getting out of bed, carrying bags. Sometimes we think it's just time passing, something that comes naturally with age. But what if I told you that this could be a sign of something much more serious happening inside your body silently? The truth is that as we age, our muscles slowly start to disappear. Yes, they go away painlessly without fanfare, but they leave a profound impact on our energy, balance, and independence. And the scariest part? All of this could be happening because of the absence of a single nutrient that almost no one is paying attention to. In this video, you'll discover what this nutrient is, why it's so important, and how to include it in your diet to regain your strength and quality of life. It's simpler than it seems, and it can completely change the way you live your days. Before continuing, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Here, you will find content made especially for your health and well-being. Now, let's understand what is happening to your muscles. Understanding sarcopenia, the invisible enemy. If your muscles are getting smaller over time, it could be due to a condition called sarcopenia. The name may sound complicated, but the concept is simple. Sarcopenia is the natural loss of muscle mass that occurs as we age. It begins silently around the age of 40 or 50, but tends to intensify after the age of 60, especially if nothing is done to prevent it. Contrary to what many people think, this loss is not just a consequence of aging. It can be accelerated by factors such as poor diet, a sedentary lifestyle, and even chronic stress. The problem is that, as it happens gradually, many people don't even realize they are losing strength until something more serious happens, such as a fall or sudden difficulty performing simple tasks. The first signs are subtle. Get tired more easily, feeling that your legs are weak, having difficulty getting up from a chair without support, realizing that carrying bags or everyday objects requires more effort. Over time, these symptoms can progress to frequent falls, joint pain, loss of balance, and in many cases, the abandonment of activities that were once common, such as walking, cooking, or playing with grandchildren. And why is this so worrying? Because the loss of muscle mass is directly linked to the loss of independence. Less muscle means less strength, less mobility, and a greater risk of needing help for tasks that were previously easy to do. In addition, sarcopenia also affects metabolism, increasing the risk of diseases such as type 2 diabetes, obesity, and even cardiovascular problems. Studies show that older people with greater muscle mass live longer and have a better quality of life. This is because muscles are not just used to move the body. They protect the bones, help with blood circulation, balance blood sugar levels, and even strengthen the immune system. The good news is that sarcopenia is not an inevitable fate. With the right care, it is possible to slow the process and even reverse some of the damage. It all starts with identifying what your body is lacking, and in many cases, the answer is directly linked to diet. Now that you understand what sarcopenia is and why it silently affects so many older adults, it's time to find out what essential nutrient you may be lacking in your diet and how it's accelerating muscle loss. The forgotten nutrient, the real cause of muscle loss. Now that you know what sarcopenia is and how it directly impacts your strength and autonomy, we need to talk about one of the main factors that accelerate this process: the deficiency of an essential nutrient for muscle health. This nutrient is, in most cases, protein. Although there are other important nutrients such as vitamin D, creatine, and some essential amino acids, protein is often the most neglected in the diet of the elderly. And this is serious. Protein is the building block of muscle. Without it, your body simply can't maintain or renew its muscle structure. Imagine trying to repair a wall with broken bricks or missing cement. That's how your body works without enough protein. It wears out, loses strength, and doesn't have the resources it needs to rebuild itself. As we age, our bodies begin to absorb and use protein less efficiently. In other words, even if we continue to eat the same amount as before, our bodies no longer use it in the same way. Therefore, older people need a proportionally larger amount of high-quality protein. But unfortunately, what we often see is the opposite. Lunches with very little meat or protein source. Dinners based only on soup, bread, or biscuits. Monotonous and unvaried diets. Difficulties with chewing or digestion that make a person avoid meat or eggs. This deficiency sets in silently, but the effects are quite visible. Fatigue, loss of strength, low immunity, slow, healing, hair loss, weak nails, and of course progressive muscle loss. In addition to protein, other nutrients also deserve attention. Vitamin D, essential for muscle strength and balance. Creatine, which helps with energy production in muscles. Magnesium and zinc, which help with muscle metabolism. A deficiency in any of these elements can accelerate sarcopenia, but the most common and easiest to correct is a lack of protein in the daily diet. So before you think about complicated remedies or treatments, look at the plate. It may be telling you everything you need to know. If this information is helpful to you, please leave a like now. This helps the channel to continue bringing quality content focused on health and well-being in old age. And now, let's find out what happens when you start correcting this deficiency. What happens when you rebalance your diet? After understanding the importance of protein and other nutrients that support muscles, the natural question is, what happens when we start consuming the right amount of these elements on a daily basis? The answer is more encouraging than it seems. When the body begins to receive the right nutrients in adequate quantities, it reacts as if it were receiving the right fuel after a long time running on reserve. The effects do not appear overnight, but they are progressive and transformative. The first sign is usually an increase in energy. Activities that previously seemed tiring start to be done more easily. Waking up becomes easier, your steps become firmer, and the tiredness of the end of the afternoon diminishes. Over time, there is an improvement in muscle strength. It becomes easier to get up from a chair without support. Walking becomes more stable. Arms can once again support objects more safely. In addition to physical strength, a diet rich in protein and essential nutrients also impacts mood and emotional well-being. Studies show that elderly people with good levels of protein in their diet report feeling less irritable, less apathetic, and greater mental clarity. This is because active muscles even influence the production of hormones linked to pleasure and vitality, such as serotonin. Another important benefit is the reduced risk of falls. When muscles are strong, balance improves, the body's response to sudden movements becomes more efficient, and joints are better protected. Your metabolism will also be grateful. With more muscle mass, your body burns energy more efficiently, better controlling blood sugar, reducing the accumulation of body fat, and even strengthening your immune system. All this with simple adjustments to your diet. To illustrate this, think of your body as an old house. If you start reinforcing the walls, replacing the plumbing, and repairing the cracks, it not only stops deteriorating, but starts to come alive again. It's the same with your body. When you give it the right materials, in this case, nutrients, it can rebuild itself. Of course, each person responds at a different pace, but the reports are consistent. With the right care, seniors can feel strong, confident, and more independent again. It all starts with the plate. Now that you understand the incredible benefits of rebalancing your diet, in the next chapter, we will show you how to put this into practice in your daily life in a simple, accessible, and tasty way. How to include this nutrient in your daily diet. Now that you understand the positive effects of a diet rich in protein and other essential nutrients, it's time to turn this knowledge into action. And the good news is, you don't need a complicated diet or fancy dishes. The basis for preserving your muscles lies in simple, affordable foods that are often already present in your home. Let's start with protein sources. These are the main sources responsible for maintaining and building muscle mass. Lean meats such as chicken, fish, and beef, preferably less fatty cuts. Eggs, which in addition to protein provide choline, which is important for the brain. Dairy products such as milk, white cheese, and natural yogurt. Legumes such as beans, lentils, and chickpeas. Great plant-based alternatives, tofu and soy, ideal for those who have meat restrictions. Whey protein in some cases may be recommended as a supplement with professional guidance. The ideal is to distribute your protein intake throughout the day. For example, for breakfast, scrambled eggs or yogurt with oatmeal. For lunch, rice and beans and a good portion of meat or chicken. For dinner, omelet, soup with shredded meat, or a tuna sandwich. Another important point is quantity. Often elderly people only eat a small piece of meat or half an egg on their plate, and that is not enough. Ideally, each main meal should contain at least a portion of protein equivalent to the palm of your hand. Now, if the person has difficulty chewing or swallowing, there are solutions: cooked and shredded meats, which are more tender. Soft scrambled or boiled eggs. Yogurt shakes, milk, and whey smoothies. Protein-enriched purees, such as mashed potatoes with shredded chicken. In cases where diet alone is not enough, your doctor or nutritionist may recommend specific supplements, such as protein shakes, creatine, or vitamin D capsules. But be careful, supplementation should always be done under professional guidance, as excess can also be harmful. In addition to protein, include foods that help with absorption and muscle function, such as dark green vegetables, such as kale and spinach, are sources of magnesium, banana, and avocado, which help balance potassium, sun exposure to activate vitamin D naturally. It is also important to remember to stay hydrated. Water is essential for nutrients to circulate well in the body and reach the muscles. Drinking at least 2 liters a day makes a big difference. Finally, involving the family or caregiver in food preparation can be crucial. Creating a simple menu for the week, shopping with a list in mind, and preparing larger quantities of meals to freeze are practical ways to keep your meal plan in place. What about you? Do you eat any of these foods on a daily basis? Do you have any simple, protein-rich recipes that you make at home? Share your experience in the comments below. It may inspire others who are looking for more health and vitality. In the next chapter, we will show how lifestyle can further enhance the effects of good nutrition with habits that strengthen the body from the inside out. The ideal lifestyle for strengthening muscles in old age. A diet rich in protein and essential nutrients is the foundation, but to build strong muscles and preserve their functionality over the years, you need to go beyond the plate. Your body responds much better when you adopt a lifestyle that favors movement, rest, and balance. The first pillar is physical activity, and here we are not talking about gym exercises or intense workouts. In old age, simple movements, repeated frequently, are more than enough to keep muscles active and functional. Here are some easy examples to include in your daily life. Short walks around the block or indoors. Go up and down stairs slowly, holding onto the handrail. Bodyweight exercises, such as sitting down and getting up from a chair several times in a row. Stretches when waking up and before going to sleep. Movements with water bottles or elastic bands to stimulate arms and shoulders. The most important thing is regularity. If possible, move a little every day, even if it's just for 10 to 15 minutes. The body likes routine, and consistency is more important than intensity. The second pillar is quality sleep. During deep sleep, the body releases hormones that help with muscle recovery and strengthening the immune system. Sleeping well also improves mood, appetite, and the willingness to move around the next day. To sleep better, create a fixed time to sleep and wake up. Avoid stimulants such as coffee and television in the evening. Keep the room dark, quiet, and comfortable. Wear light, covered clothing appropriate to the temperature. Another factor that often goes unnoticed is stress management. Accumulated emotions, worries, and constant anxiety affect appetite, sleep, and even muscle function. Taking a deep breath, talking to someone you trust, or setting aside moments of leisure and pleasure throughout the week can make all the difference. And we can't forget about hydration, which works like and oil for the proper functioning of all these gears. Drinking water throughout the day helps your muscles stay nourished and prevents cramps, weakness, and feelings of fatigue. Lifestyle changes don't happen overnight, but small changes made with care and persistence can lead to big changes. You don't need to be an athlete or have a perfect routine. You just need to give your body the care and movement it deserves. In the next chapter, we will learn an inspiring story of someone who decided to change a sissy and with simple actions regained her strength, her autonomy, and her joy in life. An inspirational story. The force that came back with the right care. Teresa, 74, has always been active. She enjoyed tending to her garden, going out with her friends, and doing her own grocery shopping. But in recent years, everything started to change. First, she found it difficult to get out of bed. Then she became constantly tired. And then she started falling, 2 in less than 6 months. That was when she first heard the term sarcopenia. At the time, she weighed very little, ate poorly, and spent most of her time sitting. Doctors explained that her muscles were weakened and that it was urgent to change her habits, or she could completely lose her autonomy. With the support of her daughter and a nutritionist, Teresa began a simple but powerful transformation. She included more protein in her breakfast, started eating meat or eggs for lunch and dinner, and began taking a vitamin D supplement prescribed by her doctor. In addition, every morning, she decided to take a 15-minute walk on the sidewalk in front of her house. She started with slow but steady steps. After a few weeks, she was already climbing stairs without help. Over time, her strength returned, and with it, her confidence. Donna Teresa went out on her own again, took care of her plants, and even taught her grandchildren old recipes in the kitchen. All this without requiring major changes, just with care, consistency, and support from her family. Stories like hers show that it's never too late to regain your vitality. The body has an incredible ability to adapt and grow stronger, even after years of wear and tear. All you need to do is give it what it needs: the right nutrients, movement, and attention. If you know someone like Donna Teresa, share this video. And if this story has motivated you in any way, leave your like right now. This shows that you believe in the power of transformation and helps our content reach even more people who need to hear this message. We have reached the end of this journey, and now you have something valuable in your hands: the knowledge that can change your muscular health and, with it, your quality of life. We learned that muscle loss is not just an inevitable consequence of aging, but rather a process that can be prevented, slowed down, and even reversed with simple actions. We identified the importance of protein and other essential nutrients, saw how nutrition and movement go hand in hand, and learned about the impact of an active lifestyle, even with small steps. More than information, this video is an invitation. Take care of yourself with intention. Review your diet. Move every day, even if it's just a little. Get a good night's sleep, stay hydrated, and allow yourself to rest. Ask for help, talk to a health professional, and above all, believe that your body can still surprise you. Every positive change starts with a simple step, and that step can be today. If this content has helped you and you want to continue learning how to live healthier, more independent, and more vital in your senior years, subscribe to the channel now. Here you will find videos made especially for you, with practical tips, reliable information, and messages that strengthen your body and heart. Thank you for being here. Remember, strength can come back, and it starts with the care you choose to take of yourself.